So we're going to be talking about policy enforcement. We're going to be talking about the police, who they are, how they operate, how we should really view them. And then we'll, dispel some of the misinformation that I'm aware of that's out there in the world. First and foremost, they are natural enemies. The police are natural enemies. Those who assume the office of police have the same right, have the same right. Definitely realize. So what I was speaking on is that the police, they are natural enemies. All right. People have been looking at the police as warmongers. Right? People have taken the concept of the idea of policy enforcement. They have taken the idea to be something in the negative. And I know that this is not popular opinion when I state this, but it must be understood that the police office, the office of police, it is not bad. Now, the people who assume these offices may have ulterior motive, and they may act within the office in a distressful capacity, but we must always ever be mindful not to equate individual behavior with that of the entire group. This is what we have to get away from, right? The police, the state troopers, the sheriffs, no different than, your security guard, your security forces. These are men and women like yourself, such as yourself, right? Who take office, right? They're humans just like you. They have the capacity for error because just like you, they are human. Okay? And just like yourself, like most of us should be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that, there was a time when we did not understand the difference between law and policy. Right? We must accept the fact that there was a point in time when we were ignorant of what was of a situation. Some of these brothers and sisters may be ignorant to certain situations, right? But we must always understand and never compromise the integrity of the office. Okay? People say, I've heard people explain that the police started in the form of slavery retention, right? What is slavery? Right? Slavery is the work of a debtor. Whoever's the debtor, whatever's the debtor, right? The debtor's capacity is to pay, is to work. The slave master's purpose or role is to be accredited for the work done by its slave. Okay? Black means debtor. So the people who were identified as black weren't being identified as black, literally to their skin, even though that's how we're meant to perceive it. There's a group of individuals who were identified as the debtors of the nation. And the debtors of the nation must be regulated by the creditors. Right? Majority of them have no idea. Right. Absolutely. Right. So just a quick mention, right? Studying under the likes of people like Taj Freakday early on in my unfoldment, I was led to believe that these policy enforcers, these policemen and women were aware, that they were aware of they're breaking the law, that they were supposed to know what it means to be a national. And so I would like to bring to your attention, right, the fact that Taj was wrong. Now y'all get butthurt when I say that Taj was wrong. But whatever. Taj was wrong. These men and women do not know. They do not know. They only know what they have been taught. Now, do you honestly believe that if these people were taught that they were out here and their purpose was to violate the public, do you really think that people will come and become, do you really believe that innately there are people who just have that much hate in their heart? That they would be like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to run over everybody, mom, dad, whoever, none of that. These people do not know. They only know they are your entry-level workers. They only know what is within their pay grade, right? The cashier does not know what the manager knows, but the manager knows everything that the cashier knows. Okay? The local police office, they are out here. They are servants of the public. They secure debits. I had people say, yeah, man, the police, they aren't here for you. They're only here to protect the corporation. Yes. The state is the corporation, and if you're not one with the state, then you might be violating. They are here to secure the debtor, the debit. The state troopers, they're here to secure the credits. The public, the local police enforce policy enforcement. When they engage you and they request, right, information, and you hand them this, right, which is your national, your true state identification, right, your national identification. right? They are required to receive clearance. They need clearance in order to read this information. This information that is on your national identification, right, is secure, right? And so, yeah. And so, because they don't have this clearance, and they don't have the power to void the transaction, basically. Again, dealing with the cashier. When the cashier makes a mistake, right, they must require a supervisor in order to void the issue, right? They cannot void on their own. So the local police does not have the clearance to read into your passport information. That is your protection. That is your shield. That is your security. All right. Now, with your local state, right? Yes, for real. With your local state, this is a debtor. This says Pennsylvania, right? This is supposed to be a state ID. This says Pennsylvania. This is a state ID. So what is the difference? This is your local city, municipal, right? County, federal, stateless, meaning not with the state, but residing within the state ID. This is your connection to the state. This is your debtor person. This is your creditor person. Okay? Both of these are issued, right, through the Social Security number, right? But this one is directly connected to the local public information as to where this one has its own number, right, that secures that, right? And so now it has been republic. All right, so your public and your republic. All right. So again, this has the force of local government. The local government is not the state government. The state government is over the local government, right? Yes. This is my passport or my national ID. This is my local or my quote-unquote state ID. This is identification within the city, this is local jurisdiction. This is inferior jurisdiction. Okay? This is superior jurisdiction. The passport. Okay? It has the backing of the state. So what I was saying is if you or they are ignorant of proper policy enforcement, the sanctions are still enforceable. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So your local government is chartered through the state. The state is chartered through the people. Okay? So these are your debtor persons. These are your creditor persons. Right? So in the public, you need a license to drive. All right? In the republic, meaning something that has been hidden now revealed, right? Your rights, right? You do not need a license to drive because you have the right to travel. And so the right, which is in the dark, which is going to be republic as a permission, is going to stay. When you hear people talk of the do not detain list, stuff like that. What you're dealing with is the fact that your public privileges or permissions have been republic, meaning your rights are now secure. And so now you have the public permission backed by the state, not backed by the local city government. These are your licenses for the public. These are your rights that appear into the public as permissions. Right? It just, these police officers out here, right? They're just as ignorant as we are about the law. You hear people say they don't know the law. Well, if you know the law, then you know that they don't know the law. But there are other people who don't know the law. And yet they are also arguing. So does one use the passport card? Yes. If you are not operating on the local, if you're not doing business locally, basically, right? If you're not doing local business, then you are on private business. If you're not doing public business, you're doing the business in the private. I do everything with my passport now, right? I just filed for unemployment. I gave them my passport information, but they still require the Social Security information. Why? Because they have to they can only draw from the debit in order to exchange it for a credit on the record, right? But I'm able to work under my passport and all of the Social Security information be blocked. I'm only supposed to give that Social Security number to the Social Security Administration, and I believe that the Social Security Administration is the administration that administrates all debits. And so again, in filing my unemployment, I have to give them the debit, but I'm also giving them the credit so that it balances the sheet. It's not looked at as me taking a benefit and adding to the national debt. No, I'm actually discharging it. I'm balancing it. I'm equaling it out. But again, we have people out here in the world who, again, they look to the police like they're bad people. They look to the whole idea of police as a bad idea rather than looking at the people, right, who are in those seats as being bad. By the way, the police operate as a fraternal order. Your state is the family business. It's the fraternal order, right? And you have the fraternal order of police. You have the fraternal order of Masons. You have the fraternal order of Shriners. You have the fraternal order of the Irish, the Scottish, the social clubs and whatnot. Everyone is operating off of the same principle. So if you know your own principles, if you know your own character and standard, you should know that they have the same and that it operates the same. And so to know yourself is to know them, and to know them is to know yourself. Because everyone literally has the same framework. So we should be operating as a private, but still utilizing the public. Yes, absolutely. That is, yes. Yes. Now that you are with the state, you are the one who benefits from the local. Now that you are the creditor, you are identified as he or she who has vested that security, that interest. And so, yeah, it's to your benefit. So you're supposed to utilize the public and the republic. Have we been appointed as a beneficiary? So in trust law, once you come to the right side, once you come to the creditor side, you are the liable party and the equitable owner. The equitable owner is the beneficiary, because the equitable owner is the one who has the initial investment. So everything's meant to come back to return. The return on investment comes back to you. Okay? Right. Once you correct your commercial status, right, then you will be able to discharge. Everyone's looking for discharge. The key is to understand that there is one ledger, right? You have to understand the basics of accounting. On the ledger, debits always equal credits, and assets, which are the debit side, always equals liability plus equity, right? So on the left side, you would have the trust property. This is the estate. On this side, you have the trustee of the estate and the beneficiary. So the liable party is the trustee, and the beneficiary, again, is the owner in equity. Okay, and the three are one, right? So it's trust law. You have the asset, the liability, and the equity. Assets equal. Your assets are equal to liability plus owner equity. So they go together. You cannot determine the asset or where it goes until you determine the authorized representative and the beneficiary. You appoint yourself. All right. So when you fill out when you understand that the DS-11 form is not just a passport form, and then understand what it means to pass a port. What is a port? A port is a place where cargo, right, goods, products, right, are registered, right? So if we're passing ports, what we're saying is here we go. This is your port, okay? In order to get from the west to be seated in the east, you have to pass through the gate. This is the gate. These are the double doors, y'all. Okay, and you have to open the door to pass through. So when you pass through, right, now you have the power of attorney, right? You have all of that is on this side. It's already enforced. It's meant to be done. When you understand the proper order of procedure, right, then you'll recognize that this secures your private trust. This makes you the settler, the beneficiary, and all of that is over here. Now you could do it in the public, or you could do it in the private, but you have to read public. You have to be able to take what's private and represent it to the public. This is your presentment. This is how you represent it. Okay? These are the concepts of accounting. All right? So instead of getting a 9A number, right, and a W8 bin number and authenticating birth certificate and, you know, getting a foreign trust somewhere in like Taiwan where you'll never go, right? Instead of doing all of those procedures, which is meant to pull you out of the public, right? You do these procedures, which takes you out of the public into the republic. Because all of these other procedures that people got you doing, it's taking you away from your state. This is your state government. These are the subdivisions. This is your Supreme Court. These are the inferior courts. This is the main administrative department of your job. These are all the other departments. All right. This is the boss's room. This is the main office. Right over here. If you work in the window section, then the manager of the window section, right, has the authority, right, to apply sanction. Right. Now over here, everyone over here is regulated over here. Even the manager, even the supervisor is managed over here. Right? So all your authority is on the right side of the ledger. All right. But I don't want to lose my spot, right, where I'm at. The police, your local police are there to deal with the debtors. That's it. If you don't have any state recognition, you're stateless. You're just wandering. You're like Moses and them. You're just wandering in the wilderness, seeking the promised land. And then you find out after you get your foundation. That's what the 40's for. Once you get your foundation up underneath you, you realize that you've been there the whole time. You realize that you've always been in the promised land. You just weren't approaching your land as if it was your own. You're no longer lost, wandering in the wilderness. You have come to the center. You've come to City Hall. You have come to the light to be seen by all other individuals. First, you need a nationality. Yeah, we talk about nationality. What are you talking? Here, yeah. Come on. Come on. We're going to do this just like this. Come on. Come on up. Teach us about nationality. Please and thank you. Islam. Peace, peace.
Peace, peace. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you well. Teach us about nationality, brother.
Yeah, well, most of us, especially, well, this is a global issue. It's not just in the Americas,
Right.
which is made up of North, South, Central, and the adjoining islands, which is the Caribbean. But,
Right.
we have been destroyed from our nationality, and we have also been tricked into being wards of the state through, the birth certificates and all this stuff that they did to us. So the first thing we need to do, that's why I made that statement, is you need to declare your nationality, which we all are indigenous to the planet. So if you don't express your truth and rebut what they have on the record of what you are, all of these things that you're teaching to the people, which are great, is not going to be um, any use because they're still in that state, which is
So
civil mortus.
Yeah. So in order to be civilita vivos, right, you have to be a part of a nation, a state, or a country, and
Well,
they
I
all
would
mean
say
the same. And they all mean the same thing.
no, but it goes deeper than that because you
All right,
gotta
brother.
go
I'm
back
going to go
to.
ahead and drop you down.
All right.
And then you can teach whatever it is that you're coming with on your platform.
Yeah,
All
sounds good,
right,
bro.
all right,
Peace.
Raul. All right, you take care.
Good morning. How are you?
Grand Risings, I'm happy in yourself.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm loving hearing what you got going, I thought it very interesting that using the passport card. That's really interesting. Something I learned today. I do appreciate that. Can I ask you, if one goes with a passport card, does the other card that they originally had, the license, is that something that perhaps they would give back and return, or is that something that they still keep with them, kind of?
So I would imagine that. So I don't have a driver's license first and foremost. But if I had a driver's license and I got a passport, I would not get rid of my driver's license, right? Because my driver's license would allow me to operate in the public, and my passport would allow me to operate privately in the public or republic. And so I wouldn't give over, I wouldn't turn over, or I wouldn't expect someone to keep that which is mine just because I have a different identity, different. So imagine you work at Walmart and you started in the back, right? You're in the back of the house. You're working in the freezer. You're a stock agent, right? But then you ascend to a higher position, right? Does your name change? No. Does your name card change? No. Just the position on the card change. And so you would not be stripped of, right, your knowledge of the stock in the refrigerator, in the freezer. You wouldn't be stripped of that knowledge. No one would say, well, give us back that information in order for you to elevate to this position. That would be your driver's license. It's like, why would I give up my driver's license? This is the knowledge. This is the authority in the public. So again, if you're doing public business, this is how you would do. If you're a driver, right, on the public roads, like a taxi driver or a truck driver, so to speak, you're going to need your license in order to do that in the public. But again,
Oh,
if you're doing private business,
hmm.
right, then you're utilizing your passport because it is taking what is public and then it is turning it around so that it mirrors the public. It is republic. Does that make sense?
It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Just to know, when would be, so people don't get so I don't get confused. Um, when would you show the passport card? Is that just a decision on everybody's decision by themselves when they want
So
to make it, or?
I would show my passport anytime that I'm not operating publicly in the public. So if I'm in my car, and again, let's not get scared with words, right? If I'm in my motor vehicle, right, and I am on the clock, right, meaning that I'm using it in the public to gain finance, right? And let's say that I have a license, and while I'm operating on the clock, I don't complete the stop at the stop sign, right? And I just roll through the stop sign. Then the police officer comes, woo, 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 and swarms you, right? You are obligated because you're operating in the public on the public time, you are obligated to give that license because you were working, right? And that's like saying in packaging, they tell you to go left, right, top, bottom, and you went right, left, bottom, top, right? And you fucked up the product. Well, it has to be insured, right? And so in the public, if you're on the clock and you're utilizing that information, then you are required to give them that information. Now, the same scenario, you and I, we're just out and about. Again, we're driving. We ain't got to fumble over whether we're traveling. We're driving in our motor vehicle, whatever, right? But we're not engaged in any public commerce, right? Our passport assures us that the state will take care of all the issues that are addressed in the public. They will republic it. And so when we get stopped, we both hand them our passports, and they say, well, because remember, when they stop you, they're not supposed to ask you for driver's license, registration, or proof of insurance. What they are supposed to require of you is information. We need identification. Okay, so they might suggest driver's license and this and that if you don't know any better, right? But if you know better, this is your highest identification in the land is your passport. And so we give them our passports. They are not able to process that information. They need to have a higher clearance. And once that wall that's up comes down, they will see that you and I have the right that is republic to appear as the permission or the privilege. We have the right to travel, so we are licensed to drive.
Uh-huh. So what would you say to somebody said, well, you know what if I just decided the whole time to only use the passport and make use of it every time? Would that be a possibility, or would that not work?
That would be a
Because
possibility, but again, if you're working, if you're on the clock, right?
like a
If you're on the
driver, like
clock, you have to
an Uber,
use the ID that goes with the job.
like an Uber driver or something like that.
Yeah, like an Uber driver who's on the clock would have to show their license.
Okay.
But an Uber driver who doesn't have his lights on, right, as if he's on the clock, then he. So here's another issue that I want to bring up, right? So when we're asked for or we're requested to produce identification, your driver's license, did I spell that right? Your driver's license, when you're not on the clock, is supposed to operate as your quote unquote state ID. When you're not on the clock and you tender your driver's license, right? Because that's the license, that's the ID. You don't have a state ID. Most people who have a driver's license don't have a state ID. And most people who have a state ID don't have a driver's license. If you're not on the clock and they require identification and you give them your driver's license, they are only supposed to recognize it as a state ID. But they overstep, and people allow the overstepping because both the policy enforcer and the citizen are not clear in the law. They will require a driver's license, proof of registration, and insurance. For what? If I give you my driver's license, that should be enough information to identify me in the public. Why are you asking me for all of the other things that go along with doing commerce in the public? I'm not on the clock. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
I do. That's very interesting.
You sound like a brother. You sound like a brother that you sound like Jeffy. Are you
Free
Jeffy?
now? No, I don't.
Okay, all right, just
I'm from
checking.
California. I'm from California.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm just checking.
Okay.
There's a brother who I've met in the past, and y'all kind of have the same voice.
Oh, right
And I
on.
was just curious to know as to whether or not that individual, if you were
Right
him,
on.
but no problem.
Yeah, from the West Coast. Are you from what state are y'all in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, right on. East Coast. That's cool.
Yeah,
It
that's the east. That's the
it
eastern
it,
shore. Yeah.
it seems like jurisdiction seems like it changes throughout states and even counties and stuff. You know,
The
I
highest
had
jurisdiction is your state. And all of
yeah.
those other jurisdictions that change up from time to time, from place to place, they are all underneath the state. And so as long as you have the state on your shoulder, or as long as you have the state in front of you, then the local city, municipality, borough, whatever you want, village, whatever you want to call it, they all have to kneel, if you will, or bow or submit to the
Adhere.
state.
Yeah. You know what? I was looking in Pennsylvania a couple months ago because when Donald Trump came into office, the first thing he said in his inauguration speech, he said that he's going to order a state of emergency for the borders and also for the fracking. And I know this is not what you were talking about here, but when you said state, it kind of
And I'm gonna be honest, I want to stop you there because I don't really want to go into it. I have other
sure.
individuals who desire to ask questions and come up with them.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I hope I have answered the questions that you posed.
You always do. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I
Oh,
appreciate that.
no
Thank you. Thank
problem.
you.
All right, I'm gonna.
Be
Oh,
well.
the other individual cut off. There was another individual. But all right, let me see. Come on, Pooey. The statement is: you may be off the clock, but you are moving on a publicly regulated and maintained path. Absolutely. Yes, and you should still comply. Okay, let me see. But should you still comply and beat it in court? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. They will then see the yes. They will then see the do not detain. Right. Come on, Pooey. Pooey. All right. So is there anyone else? Because I missed an individual, and I do. Please forgive me for missing you. There was an individual who had also tried to come up, and they're no longer in the queue or in the K, whatever. Let me see. I was wondering about the state of emergency and how that affects the law, etc. Um, so emergency powers, the state of emergency. When there is a state of emergency, we act according to the procedures of an emergency act, which means that everything, all of the gold, the silver, everything is now vested into the government as a whole, and that is what's going to secure you. So again, if you're not with the state, right. So when the banking emergency at that, right? Because it's all about administration of the states. So when we're dealing with the Emergency Banking Act or the state of emergency, right? That means that, or the wartime, if you will, right? That means that all the debt and all the debt must be collected and held by one central department, if you will, so that during these war times, right, we would be able to disperse and dispense the credits, whatever the needs of the people may be. So again, if you're not on the state side, you're not secured. You're still in a state of emergency. If you're on the debtor side and you haven't made it to this side, then you are not covered. If you have not vested your gold and silver, which today is the birth certificate, the debits, then you will not receive your credits in discharge. How do we operate on the state side? By leaving all old business as it is and doing all new business with your state person, your state character. Leave your local character. Don't get rid of it because you're going to need it. But you do all business backed by the state. You have the authority of the state. You are a constituent member. You are a statesman. That's a great way to understand it. Most welcome. Most welcome. So when the police are out there doing their job, your local police, they're looking for the debtors. That's what they're looking for. And when something becomes extremely criminal, they have to turn you over what? To the state, right? If it's criminal, they have to turn shit over to the state. If it's not criminal, right, then if it's just on the civil side, it's in the public, right, then they'll let your magistrates get you, right? Or they'll act ministerial. But when you're dealing with like federal crime, they don't turn you over to the district attorney. They turn you over to the state's attorney general. All right, so the left side, everything on the left side deals with the district, right? Every district in the United States is managed by the District of Columbia. District to district. Every state is operating under that individual constitution of the state. All right. You have your local, stateless, unrecognized by the state persons on one side. All right. Your birth certificate is a person that is not recognized by the state. It can't be recognized by the state because it doesn't have the same state of mind. It is mindless. State means mind. So it is mindless. No ability to think, no capacity to desire, right? It's all receiver. This is accounts. What was I just saying? Damn, what was the last thing I just said? Somebody put it up there. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, got it. All right, this is accounts. This is one account. This is one person. And then it has two other persons. This is the accounts receivable. This is the accounts payable. We receive the security. We pledge it, right, as collateral, and now it becomes secured. Okay, this side of the ledger deals with property. How do we know? Because the title is assets. An asset is something that is owned, of something of value that is owned by another. An asset does not own itself. Okay? Now, you receive the assets. This is the side of people. This is well, people are things, but people aren't stuff. So this is stuff. These are people. Okay? Now, assets equals so in order to find out the asset, you have to find out the two parties on this side. Right? So the people, this is the debtor. This is the creditor. Well, the creditor is what? You need the secured party as well as the creditor. You have to bring them together. Right? So everything on this side deals with people. The people are the ones who get paid. So this is your charge of an instrument, and this is your discharge of the same instrument. Again, your permissions, your privileges are converted. They are republicked, right? Into rights and immunities. But they still are, they're the same thing, right? Like black and white are just showing you the difference between two things, two ideas. They're the same. Your left is no different than your right, right? When you turn around, your right is not your left and your left is not your right. It's just showing you the principles of polarity and correspondence. Okay? But only absent contract. So long, what are we talking about in here? No, an asset is a debit. An asset is a debt. Okay, the asset is the thing. Debt is a thing. You know, credit is the removal, is the relief of that debt. Someone has lifted the weight. Right? Someone has built on the foundation. Right. So long as you don't contract it away. Now, most of us are contracting our rights away because we're dealing with the public instead of the republic. The republic is the private side that is now going to mirror. This is the reflection. This is the truth. This is the reflection. Again, this is Clark Kent. This is the phone booth. Once he walks into the phone booth, woo, the nigga Superman. Same actor, different character. Okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. That's why I am concerned about keeping the driver's license. Well, again, so you know what? Again, so here's another idea. Appreciate it. When you are in your car, don't have your driver's license on you. You have a valid driver's license, but you're not operating in that capacity And so you're going to leave it at home, right? Do you wear your job name tag, right? This conceptually. Do we wear our job name tags out in the world? No. When we get home, we take them off. Because I'm not identified. At this point in time, I'm not cashier and register number 2. You know, it's the contract. Well, understand that you're making a contract when you take your birth certificate. The same thing that you use to contract away your rights, you're using to contract into your rights. It's all about contract. But there's nothing wrong with having that contract if you can utilize it. Shit. When you understand the law and how to utilize it, when you learn how to redeem and discharge, then you know, anytime someone comes, the police, whosoever violates you, you should look at that as a motherfucking gift. You should be like, oh, here, take this one. Why? Because every time they violate you, brother, that's a gift. Why would I get rid of it? It's a security. You're violating the security. I wouldn't get rid of it. Just because I didn't have it on me doesn't mean that I don't have it. Prove to me that I was operating in such capacity. When I give you the driver's license, I'm giving you the driver's license to show you that I have the right to be on the motherfucking public roads. But you're only they are only supposed to register it as the state as identifying your person, not your commercial person. So when they violate you, accept it. Be like the wise man, you know, who when playing chess does not correct his adversary when he makes the mistake, because that would not benefit himself. To correct, to bring to the attention. This is why we don't hold court in the street, right? We have to go through the fire. If you're going to be violated, the violation has to appear, right? Agree with thine adversary on the way to court. They was beating Jesus' ass on his way to court. And he was agreeing with him. All right, bring me, just so that you don't do me no good right here on the street. I'm gonna let you take me to the king, to the state. I'm gonna let you take me to the state. And the state is gonna redeem me, which is what happened. The Bible says, tell man when they do wicked that they correct it. Right. Islam, though. Islam, though. Right. So the police are not your enemy, right? The whole idea of policy enforcement, you are a policy enforcer, okay? When you're with the state, you become a state policy enforcer yourself. Everyone has equal standing. You have the highest status in the land, right? So you have to understand policy enforcement is necessary. And you have to know how policy is enforced in order for you to see when and if a violation has, in fact, occurred. How sure are we of that? I've never read the contract. You filled out the passport and you filled out an affidavit. You gave them your. All right, so let me get back to my class, right? Because I see I keep feeding, you keep shooting questions at me. Brother, why don't you invite me to your segment and I'll come on and speak with you on your platform about the things that you're talking about. But I'm not going to allow myself to be distracted from what I'm doing because you keep feeding me information. All right. All right. Really what? All right. It's fun. All right. Much fun. All right. City, we'll say local. which is municipal, right? City, county, right? Everything but the state, right? Your local police, your municipal, your city, your county police, they are there to regulate anything that is not identified specifically or claimed specifically by the state. If the state does not have possession, then it is abandoned property. So they're going to deal with you as a debtor. Right. District and territory. Right. Thank you. Local, municipal, city, county, all district. Now, like I stated before, if it's district in the land, then it's district. It's the District of Columbia. You are issued ID from your district government. That is your birth certificate. That is your legal district person. You have to take that person, right, and you have to sign him up with the state so that now it's not local. Now the state is above all of that. But I know a lot of us, we've had some rather unfortunate happenstances with our fellow brothers and sisters who have agreed to, police the debtors, right? But we've been having these unfortunate happenstances due to our ignorance and our passivity, right? In actually knowing what is and what is not, right? We are the ones violating the constitutional national laws of the government. Johnny. All right, so just a disclaimer. Anyone who wishes to follow Johnny D's information, by all means do that, but that's not on my platform. I know that when this goes over to YouTube, that none of this is going to show, so I'm not going to worry about it. But just caveat emptor, whatever he's putting out there, I'm not co-signing anything. All right, I don't deal with the USCs, and I'm not even talking about the United States codes right now. He's putting information in there about the United States code. So if that's the public information that you wish to follow, by all means. But I'm showing you the Republic principle. All right. So you can learn the Republic. You can learn how to operate in the Republic if you study the public law, and then you understand how it is to be done in the Republic. All right. That's what I'll tell you. If you wish to know how a thing works, you must first find out how it does. Okay? So example. I said I wasn't, but I'm gonna, because I guess that was the purpose for Johnny D to come in to get me to talk about that, right? My mind is now telling me that I should talk about that. Fuck. I hit that pipe too hard. What were we talking about? Good. All right. No, all right. All right. Let's look at the time of Jesus, right? So Jesus was a citizen. Does anybody know what Jesus' nationality was? Does anybody know? No, it was not Judean. No, it was not Hebrew. So Jesus went to Egypt for 18 years. He started at 12. He became a man at 12. And so all of his adult life, he spent in Egypt. He was an Egyptian national. Judea is his country of origin, but he's aligned with the Egyptian. He went there for 18, from 12 to 30. He was gone for 18 years. Remember, Jesus left the temple as a 12-year-old man. They called him a boy. He was a man, bar mitzvah. He was 12. He came back to the same place 18 years later as a man. He was not a boy. Okay, so we'll say that you have the Roman army. You have the Roman army. These are your policemen, right? Then you have your Jewish authorities. All right. These are your district police. These are like your county police, right? But Jesus being an Egyptian, remember, both of these people came against him. His own rejected him, so he's not one of these people anymore. Jesus came as an Egyptian. That was his authority. His father called the check, and he called his son out of Egypt. Okay, if anyone doesn't like it, it is what it is. We all have the same stories. Right? Just letting y'all know we all have the same stories. And if you look at it, you'll understand that Jesus was not a boy when he left, and he was a man when he came back, and he was a national. He spent the whole of his adult life in Egypt. Not technically, but he spent the majority of he went to Egypt and he came out of Egypt. So his allegiance was to Egypt. That's for the Hagar. That's for the seeds of Hagar, right? Jesus went to Egypt, and he was identified as an Egyptian national. You hear me? Anywho, so the Roman army was being ran by the Roman government. The Roman government, that's your district government. All right, and then you had the Jews who were okay with this. They were not dealing with their own laws. When Jesus returned to find his people in the temple, he found them doing what? Selling everyone out. Well, who were they being sold out to? To Rome. So remember, the Jews were already off the path. All right? And they conspired. So you have your district and you have your local authorities coming together, conspiring to defraud your true national government and conspiring to interfere with the rights of a citizen. This is what's going on with Jesus, right? So his people were out of line. These people were out of line. And when he was brought to Pontius Pilate was like, yo, man, this ain't even really how we get down here. The Jews want us to charge you and administrate your affairs according to our law. And their law is different from our law. All right? Let me see. Appreciate the love. Oh, we up to 10,000. Appreciate you. All right, so these two groups tried to go against the state. Jesus represented the state. The state of what? Egypt. Egypt was the capital of Africa. It was the capital. It was Philadelphia before it became Washington, D.C. That's what Egypt is. Egypt is Philadelphia, the capital, before the federal administration was established. So this is the ancient. This is the foundation. This is the brick. This is my Peter. This is the rock. You heard? Right? Anywho, so when Jesus comes before Pontius, Pontius already knows. So Pontius allowed for things in the public, right, to play out, because they're accusing Jesus of being a public debtor. This is what they're accusing Jesus, because he came into the temple, because he came to the government administration, his true government administration, and he told them, "Hey, yo, y'all fucking up out here," right? Because he exposed them for misappropriating, for not rightfully, properly administrating the trust and the state of the people. Because he outed them and kicked them out, they all conspired to get him taken out. And they accused him, right, of being a sovereign citizen. Jesus was accused of being a sovereign citizen. But Jesus he's never claiming that he's outside. He's actually saying that he's inside of the law. What does he tell them? Isn't that written in your books? What are you talking about? In my law, in our law, because when he says in your books, he's talking to the Jewish people. He's talking to his own. Is it not written in your books that ye are gods? That ye are professional lawmen with the state? And all Jesus was saying is that, hey, look, I'm a free national citizen. Right? I have allegiance to the truth in government. This is what Jesus is telling them. All right. So again, when Jesus is brought up to Pontius Pilate, he recognized that Jesus came in clean hands, and he came in clean hands too, right? Because when Pontius Pilate discharges the affairs, what does he do? He washes his hands. He's showing you that it's equity that we're dealing with, right? Okay, this is us. This is us looking down at Jesus. This is Jesus, the top of Jesus' head. These are his arms, and this is the cross. Okay? There we go. Okay? Debits equal credits. Assets equals liability and equity, right? And what is it? Revenue equals expenses minus equity. I can't remember. All right. I'm not gonna get too lost in it yet. I'll bring it back. Anyway, so now we're looking at Jesus on the cross. This is your ledger, right? So now we're going to flip it around. This is your T ledger. For those of you who understand accounting, we're looking at a T ledger, right? Then you got Jesus, whatever. All right, so Jesus was stabbed in the heart, right? Jesus was stabbed in the heart, and both water and blood flowed down to his feet, right? Liability is the heart. Jesus was stabbed. Oh, excuse me. Oh, no. Heart. Jesus was stabbed in the heart. Right. Yeah, but we're not going to use dividends right now, right? Or draw. All right. We're going to use I go by the 5 principles. You can go by the 6, right? If I add draw here, right, then that would be the 6. But I go by the 5, okay? All right. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. All right. Okay. Cool. Appreciate you for letting me know. This ran out. Let me plug this up real quick. You should start back at the heart. So I'll go back to there. I'll deal with that later. Let me get to this. We should be good. You said to start with the heart, back with the heart. All right. Jesus is stabbed in the heart, right? And when he's stabbed in the heart, and his blood and the water flows. Blood and water. Blood and water. Right? Red and blue. When the fire comes, I will be your water. Anywho, that is your life force. Right? So when the blood and all of that dropped at his feet, the force came down from the heart to the feet, because this is the bottom line. All right? So whatever debts that were in the public were republicked and forgiven. All right? Equity flows from the heart. This is your chamber of commerce. This is the chancery right the fuck here. You hear me? Back it up. So Jesus did not die on the cross. What died on the cross? The public personality. To this day, this is why no one really knows the public Jesus, because he gave up that person. And he was redeemed. Jesus basically came and turned over to Rome what belonged to Rome. He turned over the debtor. And then because he properly discharged, he was redeemed. He sat in hell for 3 days. Hell? You mean debtor's prison? How long does it take for a transaction to go through the process? 72 hours? He was held for 72 hours. From the last business day of the week to the first business day of the week. And then he was accredited. Jesus walked. The real Jesus, the living, the spirit, not the asset, right? Not the idea, remain. So Jesus gave up. Basically, Jesus pledged his debtor as collateral and was made a creditor. He properly discharged. He give unto Rome what is Rome, nigga. So I'm going to give this look here. This was established by the state, but the debit account comes from the district. And so here's the debitor account. Here's the public account. In trust law, there's only one. You're dealing with one account, and the account must have the debits and the credits. And so whatever's in the public, it has to also appear in the republic. Right? So if the estate has a personal public account, then it has a real private account. All right? So this set up the trust. The trust is already established. This is the estate. Jesus gave the estate to the Father. Hey, I put it in your hands. The blood and the water, all of my gold and silver, all my commerce, all my energy is vested in the return of Christ. Christ is the investor. You have vested interest by the power vested in me by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Right? This is what we're looking at when Christ took his. Christ never took a loss. When they say Christ redeemed all of us, he's showing us how to fucking do it. It's only one. He's only one account. He called you his brother and sister. He didn't say that he was your overstudy. He's saying I'm your big brother, and according to the rules, the big brother is the speaker of the house, mom and dad, or vice president and president. And I'm the speaker of the house, and so all authority flows through me. And when they're not here, then I'm the one directing you. And I'm showing you how to do those things because mom and dad already prepared me. I already know the way. So I'm just showing you how to maintain. Your objective is to be like me. And if you can, be better than me. But you're not to be beneath me. I'm here to show you the things that you can do that I can do so that you can do them. And that way, I properly discharge my affairs and I can be relieved of my duty. Now, I can go start my own family, business, whatever, right, under the umbrella corporation. But anywho, all we're talking about is accounting, right? The police are here. The local police are here to administrate the debit side. Your state police and higher ups are here to deal with the credit, right? So I deal with Christ, right? I know my sins and I ask Christ to forgive them. So I know my debtor side and I bring it to my state to say, hey, I want to invest all of this in here, right? I want to file a claim. When Jesus gave up the ghost, he made a claim. Jesus' last breath was a claim. He said, Ma Shalem. He said, Ma Shalem, which is interpreted in English as it is finished. It is done. But when you look up the word Ma Shalem and you compare it to business language, you will notice that Ma Shalem, when it speaks about something being done, it is in the sense of something being perfected, completed, fully processed, discharged, settled. So when Jesus said Ma Shalem, he said he was incredible. That's what the fuck he said. And he didn't tell you he's a boogie woogie, all of that, The word Ma Shalem means creditor. It means the claimant who has made the claim. Holy Quran, holy God. Holy means perfected. And gospel means God's claim. You have perfected your claim, thus correcting your status. That's all we're talking about here. Oh, amen. Here lies the truth. Let me see. The type of learning is so amazing. Y'all are most welcome. You're most welcome, Leanne. All right, and just so that I have you all, while I have you all on here, right? So the YouTube channel link is in the bio. In case you missed, you came in late, right? And it's like, damn, I want to catch up. These are all uploaded to the YouTube channel so that you can go over the information. You know what I mean? I have like about 50 plus, right, of these same types of live feeds where I'm teaching this information to you. All right. I didn't mean to send the invite, but all is well. All right. So again, Christ means creditor. Christ is the authorized representative of the Father, the same way that the creditor is the authorized representative of the state. Jesus' father, his father in heaven, was an auditor. His business was accounting. God is the head clerk. You know how the judge takes off the robe and he becomes the head clerk? And when he puts the robe on, now he's the judge. God is the judge. And when you are covered with him, God is the head clerk. The state is the head clerk, the chief. And when you are covered, right, when you have embraced and become one with it, right, now you're the judge. You're the accountant acting in behalf of God's trust. Because that's all we hear in the religious, trust in God, testaments, wills and testaments. Do you not see trust in estate planning? Wills and testaments written all in it? It's all in there. It's all. All right. So when you read your religious books, I need you all to recognize that no matter what religious book that you read, you're going to get the same principle, different parables, right? But the same principle. And when you see that the Old Testament aligns with the New Testament, it's because the principle is being expressed, not because there are any men and women in this book, right? And when you look at the Quran of Arabia, again, everyone is drawing from the same source of information. When you know what the source is, when you know the source, when you see the force, you will see the power. When you can find the source of the power, you will see it in all things. So you could be a Muslim, or you don't have to be any of these things, to be honest with you. What you really need to be, no matter what, is a motherfucking professional. You must be a professional person. In my last clip, and I'm not quite sure if I put it on YouTube, but I'll make sure. I showed you all that the word prophet, everybody all boogie woogie, especially, my so-called religious brothers and sisters, right? Some tell you that Jesus was a prophet. Some tell you that Jesus was not a prophet. Some tell you that Muhammad is a prophet. Some tell you that Muhammad was the last prophet. What the fuck is a prophet? If you Google, you can just Google Wikipedia, right? We don't have to use, these dramatic etymological, books. If you were to just Google, if you were to ask Google or Bing or whatever your search engine is, what is the origin of the word prophet? It will tell you that it is Greek in origin, that it is a compound word, and that the two words that are used are similar to the English pro, meaning forward, or toward, and fashion, which means to tell. Right? Like confession. Fashion means to tell. And so a profession. Well, profession of what? Of God. So it's a profession L. So all we're talking about is being an authorized person. You were supposed to follow the ways of your scriptural leaders because you were doing everything that you can to be in that same position. I'm not going to go to school to be a baker just to and follow the directions of the baker only to just leave the class and not become a baker myself. I didn't just come here to learn how to bake. I came here to learn how to bake so that I could take the craft and be useful to others as well as myself. So the word prophet just means authorized person, principal, chief, sheikh, sachem, sultan, president, presiding officer. What was the other one? Chief, prince, noble, honorable. All of these high titles mean the same thing. That's what the fuck I am. All the high titles of God and man, Emmanuel, right? I went to God. God is my government ordinance department. So I went to my State Department and said, hey, I placed my hand in their hand. We embraced and all became well. That's for my Moorish Americans who study their literature. All right? We're learning how to become prophets, man. A prophet is a professional announcer. It's a lawman. You're professing the law of God. It's a policy enforcer. That's what we're becoming. Corporate professional administrators. I'm an auditor. I'm an accountant. I'm an accountant. I deal with accounting. My father is an accountant. And I am not only one of the workers in his firm. I'm a shareholder. I'm an inheritor. I'm an investor. So the verse about catching the fish on the right side. Yes! They cast their net on the left side. There was nothing of benefit there. So they cast it on the right side, the creditor side. Boom. Another instance of this left and right. Jesus being on the cross. If you remember, Jesus was on a cross, but there were two other people, right? Two other robbers. They call them robbers. So there are two other persons, right? The person on the left side of the ledger, he didn't accept Jesus. He wasn't nothing to do with justice. Nothing. This nigga was not redeemed. This one sought to be recognized in the kingdom. He was redeemed. He's on the right side of God. God is your state. Get with the creditor side. Right? Zero the account or balance level. Right? For my masons out there, for my master builders, this is the fucking level. Here, let me show y'all, man. We meet on the level. We park on the square. Nigga. Right angle. Right angle. We meet on the level. This is your scale. Scale means justice. So Jesus means justice because Jesus is the scale. Well, what does the scale portray? You've got the feather, right? It's even fucking telling you this is a feather. So a feather, what do you use a feather to? Feather for to write on things, right? So this is tough. And then what? The heart. Equity is right there. This is the asset. That's why it's a feather. It's the claim. This is the source of the claim. Appreciate you all. Salute to you as well. All right? Y'all want to rock with me heavy, hit the little heart button thing up there, Get with it. This is what I do all day. I'm here to help y'all. I'm here to show y'all. I'm here to share with you all what I know, right? And I'm a prophet not because I did boogie woogie magic, but you'll know by my works and my deeds and my actions that I am a professional. That's what I am. I'm a prophet. Are you a presiding officer? You were born son of the king. Of course you are, but you have to stand up. That's all we're looking at. Status correction is standing up. Yes, in God, yes. In the government ordinance department, we trust. In the law alone do I trust. That's why I got my national ID. Because I trust only in the state. I took, look, I took the trust document and I pledged it as collateral to the state. This is what I got in return. So that means that my claim was processed and I received proper discharge and the authority to discharge. My debit has to equal my credit. They're one. I have two cells. Yeah, man. So recognize that the police are, they should. What law supports that process? What do you mean? Come on up. Yes, I pledged my birth certificate because it's a security, right? I know what it is, and I pledged it as collateral since it is the SESTA KV Trust, which is the unlimited debit account that is issued to all of us when we are born. I pledged it in order to receive the corresponding creditor account. I claimed the name before they did. All of that shit. Yeah, that's boom. I gave my security to my state treasury. My treasury does the auditing, not the federal government. My particular state national government does my auditing because I'm a creditor. I'm not identified as the debtor. The federal government deals with the debtors. But in the end, you've got to show the debits and the credits to the national government so that they can process your claim. that you are not the debtor, that you don't owe, the debtor is the one who keeps adding to you're adding to the national debt. This is the additions to the national debt. Well, this is the corresponding negations of the national debt, right? Conveyed and repurposed or revenued as credits. Debits and credits are the same thing. They're the same thing. It's just one has the pull, one has the push. Yes, it is a passport, but it is more than a passport, right? So when I look at this card, I see the word nationality on it, and so this is also a nationality card, right? I see the name, I see the word birth, the date of birth on it, so this is also a birthright card, right? Because it shows my place of birth, where my birthrights, right, are inherent. It has it has name on it, so this is my name card with title. You know, it's not just a passport card. It's everything it says it is. And again, I see the word nationality on here. I know that my nationality is Muslim Pennsylvanian American. As a Muslim, I accept all of humanity as my brothers and sisters. And so I identify with all of humanity first. And then I come into my state, nation, or country. My first nation is all of humanity. So when a Muslim says I'm Muslim American, this is, or Moorish American even, this is what they're expressing under Islamic tradition. They're not trying to fly more than one flag. I'm a Pennsylvanian American, and I utilize Islamic trust in the state administration. That's what's on my affidavit. And because I'm a Muslim, which is it's a fellow man, it's a foreign. Since I'm foreign to the Christian rule, I'm a diplomat or an ambassador of the Muslim nation. There's my diplomatic status right there. Because I'm a Muslim creditor, not a Christian debtor. So I'm foreign to the state. I'm foreign to not foreign. I am protected against local city state that deals with the debtors. Christianity deals with debt. Sin is debt. I never sent an affidavit. What do I have to do? I mean, shit. I'd send them an affidavit. You know? Right. I would rather be under the jurisdiction of the state than any district, county, municipality, city. The state has all the authority. And when me and my state became one, all of the powers of the state became vested in me. Why? Because my initial investment, the gift that was given to me of unlimited debit, I pledged it. Boom. I invested. I'm an investor. I'm a constituent member of the union. Mm-hmm. So if you read public law with this state of mind, you will be able to unfold and reveal or unravel how your republic rights, how your private rights are brought back into the public and how they should correspond. Right? Here's your power. And this proves that you're not a sovereign citizen, because obviously sovereign citizens today, the way they address themselves today, have nothing, desire nothing to do with the state at all. How do you pledge it? So when you fill out the DS11 form, they're going to require that you present it as long as the debit account Social Security number. This is, you're filling out the claim. And so this is how you give it to them. You give them the information because as the account holder, you would be the only true individual that would be in possession of this information. And so you put it on the you fill it out the DS-11 form, you give it to them. You give them the information. That's you're pledging it. You're saying, here, I'm identifying, I was once under this name, and now I have an assumed name to work through that name. We were who were before about this. All right, yay. Because there is no they versus us. There's only we. And so the concept that you're trying to see it from is separating humanity into divisions. Dividends is on this side. You're dividing. You're trying to say that there was some and then others came. No, we're all humanity. We use our form. It works for me like it works for them because we are all one. Just because I have an outward appearance that might be different doesn't mean that the substance inside is different. So I don't look at things as us versus them in regards to national identity. I look to the division of us versus them depending on who's doing right and who's doing wrong, regardless of what the fuck they look like. Period. That's true unity. You know what I'm saying? The organ, the principles that I stand on is obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance and unity. So I don't, as a Muslim, I don't have that whole idea that just because you're not a Muslim, you're not one of my family, because to me, as a Muslim, everyone's born Muslim. Everyone comes back, so you're a Muslim to me. You just don't see it that way. I always see all of humanity as the same. Who do I send that affidavit? You know what? So check this out, right? So if you would like for me to assist you, right? I'm teaching you about accounting. I'm teaching you about business, right? You're going to have to pay. All right. So you could go on the website, link in bio. Go to the Economic Securities tab, right? And or you could go to, I have it in the profile here. You can offer a gift, right, in consideration of me giving you my energy, and then we can talk it out, and I'll walk you through this. But I'm not here to be spewing out answers to just random questions. You can go to my YouTube channel, and I teach these things. All right, I explain these things. The questions that you're asking, if you do your own due diligence and you go to the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find the information. Just understand that on average, they're at least an hour long. Particularly because I have to engage the community, because instead of following, you're being active. And that's cool. You know, activity is what I'm looking for. Passivity is not, right? But yeah, I provide those services as well as products, right, that assist in returning back to your proper fold of government. I don't teach anything about disconnecting from the U.S. As a district or as a nation. We don't teach that shit. You'll never catch me teaching that shit. Professor. So again, just go to the profile page. Go to my profile page here, and click. It'll show you. It'll take you right to the YouTube channel. We have a website and a YouTube channel. Okay. But yeah, we're not. You're not just gonna sit and draw out of the well. You're not gonna keep drawing out of me and not giving me something in return, right? We're talking about returns on investments here. Invest in me so that I can invest in you. All right. This is not understanding, right? This information is free, mind you. My time is not. Okay. I just want y'all to understand that that's business. I'm not here to sell you any packages. I'm not here to sell you any dreams. I'm not offering that. So this should not be approached in that manner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch, I don't even know how to say it, a campaign, if you will, right? You will be able to subscribe. There you go. A subscription. You'll be able to get in contact with me, and we'll be able to talk over the phone. I will give you this. I will give you my separate line, my business line, right? And we can engage in these conversations, right? Consultations. I am a consultant. I am a human rights consultant and a civil rights consultant. And my civil rights, just to let you all know, have nothing to do with the 14th and 15th Amendment, because my civil rights are republic. So I don't need the 14th or 15th whatsoever. When I express my human rights, it is with the state. Or when I express my civil rights, it's with the state as a creditor, not with the district as a debtor. Okay. So, let me see. All right. Well, I'll take a moment for some questions, man. If you wish to come on up, right? Biggie speak. Now is the portion where you can ask your questions. And if I feel like, it's something that's deserving to be answered at that time, I'll answer for it. And you know what? I need to set the ambiance. You are learning from a Fez wearing Moorish American. So for those of you who have an issue with that, okay. So with the Trinity, pretend, yes, the Father is the grantor, the Mother or the Spirit is the trustee, and the Son is the Word or the beneficiary. The Son becomes the trustee. It's a cycle there. But yes, it is. Anytime you're dealing with threes, it's trustful. Anytime, right? The Muslims, and so you have some Muslims out there who will tell you how Christ, right? Born. Let me show y'all something, right? Right. The Muslims deal with the crescent moon and star, right? This is not a trinity. Muslims, Orthodox Muslims, which unfortunately deals with outward show and not inward show, obviously, right? They tell you that we are under the moon and the star. They say that Allah is not the father of any kind. Yet they still identify him as everything that a father establishes the trust, establishes the estate, right? And so they say we're under the crescent moon and star. These are for those who don't understand trust law. All right. In reality, if the star is all red and the moon is all red and the star is inside the moon, right? You would not be able to see that star because they're of the same color, right? Makes sense? Now, there is a sun eclipsing the moon. Let me bring this. This is the sun eclipsing the moon to show you that the Father, or that Allah, the husbandman, is there. He is the Amen, the hidden. This is the trust. This is the seal. This is what Muslims look at if they know. They're looking at the moon and the star, which are literally made of the same stuff, right? The child is as perfect as the mother is. The mother represents the physical, tangible assets of an estate. That's why mom acts as trustee. When the father's out and about, mom takes the lead in the home. Mom is under the umbrella of the father, the way that the father is under the umbrella of God, or the way that the man is under the umbrella of the state. All right. So the truth in the matter is that this is not the waning of the moon. This is the sun coming between, right? It's coming in front of, it's securing the mother because it's coming in front of her, and it is showing you that the star is there. You will not see this star behind this moon or in front of this moon if there is nothing in front of the moon to distinguish. This is the sun, the moon, and the star. This is the father, the mother, and the child. This is the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. And if you look at it, it's even on the same size, right? So in Islam, things run right to left, not left to right. All right? So this is Allah. This is the Prophet. This is the Mu'min. Or this is the Ummah. All right. Oh yeah, just said right to left, tripping. So from the head, this is how our energy goes clockwise. All right. Now, that's because we deal with the moon, so to speak. Right. We go from right to left. In the Western Hemisphere, they go from left to right. Right. And so you would see it as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Right. Let me see. It's from Allah. Right. So this is the state. Yeah, that's what I was trying to show. But that the sun, the moon is literally on the left side, and the star is literally on the right side. All right? Because the child is as perfect as the mother is, but the seed, that which is the spirit within, is as perfect as the father. Right? So this is the seed that has unfolded. This is the seed. This is what it always is. This is what is to become. Right? This is the circle of life. This is the cycle. Right? Let me see. So again, oh yeah, see, I'm bugged. That bugged. Right to left. Yeah, see, I knew my mind was fucked up. Hold on, I was on the wrong part. Yeah. I had it right the first time. Tripping. And it goes this way. All right. So it comes down to the left and travels to the right. All right. So it rises in the east and it sets in the west. All right. The authority of God rises in the east. All right. We are travelers. We are traveling from the west, which is the creditor debtor side of the ledger, to the east. So everything that Christianity is, Islam is the opposite. And so that's why I'm able to look at Christianity. I'm able to look at Islam and Christianity, turn them around like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. And I know that my left is my right, and my right is my left. I'm still able to read, to see what I need to see. All right. But it's all about trust law and the cash flow or the energy flow. Right? Your religion is teaching you how to get bread, how to get money. And your ministers are not teaching you this because they don't want you to get money. They want you to bring the money to them. You're supposed to bring everything back to the Father. So these people are acting as if they are your father. They are not saying that you are equal. They are calling you their children. They are treating you like their dependents. We must learn to act. What kind of trust is the state? Shit. Private irrevocable. How about that? It is a lawful trust. All right. The kind of trust, it is a covenant. That's what it is. Consider it as a covenant. So everything that relates to covenants, that's the type of trust. Because I'm saying that my state is my God. Since states deal with constitutions and God deals with covenants, then they must be the same. So it is an express trust. That's what it is. It's a motherfucking express trust. Because you're expressing who you are. Our state statutes calls in the charitable. Yes, no. Charitable. No, that religious. Charitable religion is the number one charitable organization world around, world over. So yes, it is a charitable. You're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up, because now that once you said it, it's like, oh, okay, absolutely, that is charitable. I knew that once I heard the right words. But yes, it is definitely charitable. All right, y'all. So no one's really trying to come on up. I'm about to go ahead and shut down and do some more meditation in my cave. You know, it just seems like all of the prophets went to their caves and shit and just mellowed out and got inspiration. Right. So if no one's gonna come up here and actually ask any other questions, then I bid you all adieu. I leave as I came in equity. Right. Again, for you Muslims out there, particularly the Moorish Americans, when we wish people Islam, we're talking about equity. Islamism is the doctrine of principal equity. That's what Islamism means. Islam means equity and Islam means the doctrine. So, learn about your natural and your principal equity, right? Learn about that left side and that right side and that ledger. Learn about your lower self and your higher self. Study yourselves, right? And let's get to business, all right? Islam.